This is the most hilarious setup. Let's see how long my GoPro can stay on my speaker for. Okay, so in today's video, I'm just going to do a Q&A. I've had a lot of people ask me some questions about living in a car and road tripping in a car, but I'm just going to get started straight away. Oh no, there's a lot of people walking past, it's so embarrassing. One of the questions I got asked was firstly about my car. So where did I get it from? I bought it from a couple of friends who I met during my ski season from New Zealand who had road tripped around in it. So they had all of the camping equipment already, like sleeping bag, air mattress, table, cooker, stove, all the utensils you'd need. So I had everything I needed pretty much straight from the get-go. My other friend, she bought her car from a guy that she found on Facebook that buys and sells cars, and you could also just buy one from a car dealership. That seems like the most popular choices. In order to buy the car, so like I said, I was doing a ski season there, so in order to do the ski season, I bought a working holiday. I applied for a working holiday visa. Oh my god, it's raining. I applied for a working holiday visa, and then I got a residency card, and I could use that to buy the car. So once I had my residency card, I also needed to show get a certificate of my residency, and take that to the place where I go to get the plates changed into my name, or the car changed into my name. I also needed proof of the other owners, so I needed their Shaken certificate. So a Shaken certificate is basically, so if you're from the UK, it's like an MOT. It's like when you do a yearly checkup for the car, but in Japan they do it every 2 years. So you have to have that. You have to get that certificate. So I had to bring that and proof of the name change that the previous owners had done. And then once I got that change into my name, I then went to the insurance company and got the insurance changed to my name as well. So in Japan, there's two different types of insurance. So there's two types of insurance in Japan. I didn't explain this very well in the original video, so I'm coming back in with my notebook on the research that I did before I got my car. So you have the compulsory car liability insurance, the Jibaseki, and that's the mandatory insurance handled when you purchase a new car, a used car, or take the car in for an inspection, and this doesn't cover property damage or personal injury. And then you have other optional car insurance, which is Nini Hoken. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing this really badly. That's just optional add-ons that you can use. Also, obviously, you need your driving license. You can drive in Japan for 1 year with an international driving permit. I know other countries you're allowed to get just a translation of your driving license, so that just depends on where you're from, basically, and what passport you hold. The other thing to consider was road tax, so you have to pay that once a year, obviously. So I ended up having to drive to Nozawa Onsen, which is the village where my residency was, to pay for my road tax, because I had to do it by the end of May, but I'm not sure if I actually had to do that. I was in Hiroshima, and I had about 3 days to drive from Hiroshima to Nozawa Onsen, where I met up with Neve. So yeah, like I said, I don't know if I needed to do that, but it was something I had to consider because I had to pay it by that date. But I'm not sure if I could have done it somewhere else, or if I had to specifically go to my residency office. Neve and I tried to do it in Nagano, which is the prefecture that Nozawa Onsen is in, and we couldn't do it in Nagano. We could only pay it in the residency office in Nozawa Onsen. So I'm not entirely sure about that. But in order to drive for those, literally 3 days or 4 days, I had to take the toll roads, and toll roads are bloody expensive. So you have to pay to be on the toll roads in Japan, and you can pay by either paying in cash or card, or you can get an ETC card, and that just kind of plugs into the car, and it will just charge straight from your bank account. So some toll roads, when you're driving on the toll road, if you want to take an exit, sometimes it will only be an ETC exit, so you just have to keep on going, get off at the next exit where you can pay with cash if you don't have an ETC card. So yeah, that can be a little bit annoying. Would I recommend getting an ETC card? Well, I barely use the tolls. I used them that one time, like I said, to drive from Hiroshima to Kyoto. I was driving for I think about 9 hours in the night. And you just don't see so much of Japan. Like, they do cut out an awful chunk of time, but I think if you're road tripping Japan, you want to be taking your time, so I don't think you need to be on the toll roads. I was only on the toll roads because I was kind of racing to get to Nagano. The other time I used them was when I was road tripping with my parents. So firstly, they were paying for the toll roads, and secondly, we had a shorter amount of time, so we wanted to be going to places quicker. So what we would do, we would drive along because we didn't have an ETC card, and you can see on the signs like how far how many kilometers the next exit is. It would tell you if it was ETC only or cash as well. So then you just have to plan accordingly, take off at the exit beforehand, I would normally do, and then turn on Google Maps settings to turn off the tolls, so then it just takes you through the normal roads. Otherwise it will just take you straight back on the tolls. Another question that people haven't asked me this too much. There's 3 main places that I would recommend sleeping for the night. The first one is Michino Ekis. So these are roadside stations that are found all over Japan. All big towns have at least one. They're basically kind of designed with people in mind to be sleeping in. At the start of my road trip, because it was early on in the season, I would be the only person there. But towards the end of the trip, like, you'd have loads and loads of cars. You just all see they have the silver screen in front, and for privacy. So loads of people road trip around in Japan. So Michinomekis are great. They have toilets. Some of them have Wi-Fi. Some of them have areas where you can sit down and charge your phone and that for free. Sometimes you can just go into the cafe, buy some food, and then just sit in the cafe and do what you need to do, charge up all your devices if you can't charge them up quickly enough on the road. So yeah, the second option then would be car parks. So there's so many car parks in Japan, and a lot of them have toilets in. So I would just search for a car park near an area that I want to go, and if it had a toilet, then that's me sorted for the night, and I would just go and sleep there. You can fill up water in your Michino Eki. There's also an app you can get. I didn't hear about this until the end of my road trip, so I never actually used it. But it's called something like Where's My Mizu? Something Mizu. And they will just tell you where you can find free water and just taps where you can fill up. Because they have quite a few in parks and stuff. So I had a 12-litre container that I kept all my water in. And so I would just fill that up, so it was great. And then the final thing I would recommend is just sleeping in car parks where you have to pay. You'll have a kombini nearby. You can sometimes get car parks for pretty cheap. Sometimes it's really expensive, so you do need to watch out. You just look on the sign it will tell you such and such a price, say 600 yen, 24 hours, and then there you go, you're paying 600 yen for 24 hours in this car parking spot that could be in the middle of the city if you know where to look. So yeah, I would recommend doing that as well. Never had a problem doing that whatsoever. Next question is maybe what do I eat? So when I was living on the road, I had a lot of dry food. I was eating noodles, and I would chuck in there, maybe I'd get some mushrooms or some pak choi, chuck some miso paste in there, some herbs and spices, I guess, chili sauce, just kind of chuck everything into a bowl and just eat noodles, basically. I would eat a lot of that. Sometimes I would just cook rice and just have rice with fried egg, mayonnaise and soy sauce. That is actually really, really yummy. Wasn't necessarily the most nutritious meals. I mean, every morning I was eating pancakes, but I would make sure to have some fruit and some nuts on those, cut up some banana. It was that was so good, some honey. That was so yummy. Just park up anywhere, cook from the back of my car. Yeah, that was pretty exciting. I love doing that. And then the other option would just be to go to restaurants and just see what you can find. Go to kombinis, get some onigiri, some ice cream. Oh, and then so utilities. I briefly mentioned you can find toilets pretty much everywhere, and that I would just cook from my car. And water you can find in pretty much anywhere. You just have to no ways of looking away, like parks, Michinoekis, your friend's house, if you've got some mates. And then the next thing is other utilities, like how do you clean yourself? So there's onsens pretty much everywhere in Japan. If you have tattoos, just beware that sometimes they don't want you to have tattoos. You can buy things to cover up your tattoos. A lot of places don't really seem to be worried. So yeah, you can go by pretty far just using onsens, or just like turn up, use the toilet, just, you know, get a flannel and a bar of soap and just give yourself a toilet shower, not a toilet shower. Don't do that, that's gross. Give yourself a sink shower. Get some biodegradable soap or stuff that's the soap that's pretty good for the environment, or not bad for the environment. Go into a lake or a river and clean yourself in that. Yeah, it depends on your budget as well, I guess. So, and then finally, how did I sell my car? So I actually sold my car on Craigslist. I put it up on Facebook. I went to dealerships, but they were just asking for literally zero money. There's absolutely nothing for my car, and I was like, this is ridiculous. But yeah, I sold it for a lot less than I wanted to, and I think I could have sold it for more, but it is a pretty old car. She's 2007. The guy that I sold her to seemed like a really nice dude. He called me up just to say a huge thank you for selling it to him. Yeah, at that point, to be honest, I was kind of desperate to leave Japan because I hadn't found a job there, and I'd got this thing lined up to go to Thailand, and at least I would be doing something and working on something, you know, for the future, whereas in Japan at that point in my life, I wasn't really doing much. I was just waiting for Thailand to come around. So I was pretty desperate just to sell my car at that point and begin the next part of my journey. So that's eventually what I ended up doing, obviously. One question was, have I ever slept in a car before? I have never slept in a car before Japan. However, when we were road tripping the country, I used to go camping quite a lot. We'd road trip from the UK to Corsica or Croatia or Spain, and we'd sleep in campsites on the way, and then we'd spend a week or 2 weeks in the actual destination, and then we'd road trip back and camp in different campsites. So I'm very much used to like being on the road, cooking on the road, not really having a home base. I'm very much used to that. So yeah, I drew a lot of my experience from that time when I was a kid. I've always loved this idea of just kind of being a snail, having everything I need on my back. I've never gone hiking though. I've never camped and done like an overnight hike. I am honestly too scared to do it by myself. I'm just waiting for the chance that somebody can just bring me out and we'll just go on a little adventure together. We'll see how things go. Another question was, did I do much research? So I don't like to research places when I go to them, mostly because I build up this idea in my mind of what it's going to be like, and then when it's not that, I just get sad or disappointed. I've been a lot better nowadays, but I don't normally do research. I prefer to just go there and figure it out. However, when I was planning for Japan, I did do quite a bit of research, partly because I was working in a bar that had like 0 customers, so I would just be doing that in my spare time, and partly because it was my first ever road trip and I wanted to see as much as Japan as possible. I did research as part of getting the visa. So in order to work in Japan, you have to do an itinerary of what you're going to do any of that to get your work permit or your working holiday visa. I kind of planned a lot then, so I already know what I wanted to do. I had so many pins saved on Google Maps, just all of these places, and I ended up going to quite a lot, but a lot of them I missed. But I was trying to plan that. I was also trying to plan like the best time to do different hikes. There's the Kumano Kodo, the Nakasendo, like so many hikes, so many mountains I wanted to climb. So I wanted to figure out like the best time to do those hikes as well. So I planned that. But mostly I just figured it out when I was on the road. It got to a point where you can only so much follow your plans. I would every week though, or every 2 weeks, what I would do is just stop somewhere like in a Michinoeki to use their Wi-Fi, or in a cafe somewhere, and I'd just plan the next few weeks. I'd be like, right, where am I? Where do I want to go? What pins are along this way? And I just write like these are the things I want to do, and I wouldn't assign a day to them. I would just be like, these are the places I want to go. This is the order that it would make sense to do it. And sometimes I go to like 3 things in one day, and sometimes I just completely ignore the plan and go somewhere else. So I kind of planned as I went, and it worked out pretty good so far. Or, yeah, throughout. I also spoke to the original owners because, like I said, they had been road tripping before, so I wanted to speak to them and see what they did. And they recommended, they were camping quite a bit because they weren't sleeping in their car, they were camping. There's also this Facebook group called like Free Camping and like Road Tripping Japan. So there's lots of information on there you can look at, including a link to a map. I'll put it in the description of this video. If you click on it, it will basically just have loads of places, and like it's user made, so it's just normal people putting places that you can go sleep in. And so sometimes I planned it off of that. It will show you Michinoekis and some campsites, some free campsites. So it's a really, really handy app. But after some time, I realized that I didn't actually need to use it because there were just so many amazing spots to just go free camp wherever you could find them. So especially when you're living in your car, you don't need to set up a tent. Next question. Would I do it again? I would absolutely road trip Japan again. The reason I maybe wouldn't is because of the bureaucracy, but I think I definitely plan to do another year in Japan. I'd love to get sponsored over there, so I would definitely be buying a car and doing some more road tripping. I mean, it's definitely the country where I feel most at home at the moment. There's so many places I haven't gone, so yeah, I just love to keep exploring. The next question is, how much money did I need to save up? I actually can't give you an answer because I worked before I did it. I probably saved up about $4,000, but then I also went working. But that was not enough because I couldn't find a job. I found a job for the winter and then I looked for a summer job too late. The minute you finish doing a ski season, if you do the same thing I've done, is I would just start looking for a job for the summer, and then at least you know that like, oh yeah, I can do this for 4 months, and then in the next 4 months I have to be by a certain place. So that can add a little bit of structure to your road trip and to your life and how things are going to look. I would recommend Miyazaki, Shimoda, maybe more places in Hakiba and Nagano. There's loads of places in Tokyo. Obviously it's more difficult to have a car when you're in the city, so I'd keep that in mind. But I definitely try and find a job pretty much as soon as you finish the ski season. Maybe do a few weeks of actually, obviously relaxing, not working, getting into the routines of this new life that you've got. Yeah, just to save up a bit of money. And also because after some time, like, you need somewhere to be anchored to again. I think there's only so long you can be a snail. It's amazing, but it's only so long I can do it for. And then the next question is, did I have to learn much Japanese? So I thought I would learn so much Japanese when I was doing my ski season, but I just didn't at all. The truth is like, you don't really need to know any Japanese. As long as you have Google Translate, you're pretty much sorted. However, learn Japanese. It's a fucking beautiful language. I actually learned the most Japanese when I was staying in one place, and also more when I came to Thailand and was doing Duolingo, because I'd been exposed to the language, so I kind of understood the sentence structure. I think for me that's a really important or a really key part of learning a new language, is understanding the sentence structure. And having been surrounded by Japanese, like, it's so different from how you would speak in English, but I'd been surrounded by it, so I kind of understood it a bit more. And therefore I think I was able to finally actually develop my skills speaking Japanese and be able to just develop it faster from there. I would say you don't have to learn Japanese, but I highly, highly encourage you do, just because it's so much fun and it will help. If you have any more questions, please let me know. I think I covered a lot, but yeah, please let me know. If you want to know a little bit more about me, there's an interview I did with Harry Boy, and that's out on YouTube, so you can watch that. What I'm doing, what I'm up to, where I'm going, my passions, where I'm from. I chat a lot of shit about Wales, which is where I'm from. In hindsight, Wales deserves a lot better than everything I give it. So there's that. Anyway, go and watch that. If you enjoy it, let me know. And I will see you in the next video. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe for some more travel content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!